Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 169, nice, of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Dirk as per usual, and we're live on the Terminal City FC YouTube, Area 51 Sports Network Twitter, and Twitch. And Vancouver Whitecaps have wrapped up their preseason. Nothing really super notable, but this deal took some time. We talked about him last week. Emmanuel Sabi, the American forward, has officially signed.
Yeah, it was pretty much done and dusted by the time we talked about this last week. It still took a few days to get over the line, but it is done. Deal goes to the end of 2027 season, club option for 2028. We haven't seen him. We only really know him because of his time in France with Le Havre. The same thing with Jadon Nelson. It seems like a bit of a
reclamation project.
Exactly, right? This is exactly the words I was going to say. So I hope that he fits in with it. The one thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, he spent some time in Denmark, right?
Yeah, I believe with Jesper Sorensen, or Sorensen had
or
some,
at least they would have played against each other. I'm not too sure which way.
I'm not too sure, but
I believe at least he's not an unknown quantity, right?
And remember, we're signing this guy from League, the top league in France. Sure, it's last place, but the more I watch his footage, he's got some skill here. He can move. He can shoot. Yeah. Only thing is, his numbers aren't the greatest. As you can see the announcement vid here.
Yeah. It's going to be, and the thing is he's one of those players again, and this has happened with the Whitecaps before, where it is so late into preseason that he doesn't get time to really acclimate himself with his teammates, with his coach, figure things out. So you're not really going to be able to judge anything off of him until April, May.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't get that time where, a training camp it's almost like a pressure cooker, right? You can condense a lot of things into a short amount of time rather than training in between matches where you're doing things that are very specific for whoever it is you're coming up against. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for this guy, and I hope he gets there.
Yeah, the good thing is, though,
maybe he got there. He already scored in his last preseason game. So,
good thing about Sabi is that he's already pretty much match fit as he leaves Le Havre mid-season.
That is true. That is true.
But it'll take him time to adjust to a new league, a new system, and all that. And it's a what the hell sure signing, but it's an interesting one because this is a type of player that could potentially, be better than what we think he is. Kind of like what Fafa Pico was last season.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. I mean, you got to figure out what he's going to do within the system once he actually plays. You talked about preseason. They finished up their last two games with 2-0 wins. So they end their stint in Marbella, Spain, with 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
They're now back in Vancouver as of yesterday, back into training. And they will, I think they're going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not heading off to Coachella, are they?
Don't think so, but they're training back at UBC today. Yeah, and BC plays tomorrow.
I mean, they've got, 15 days, I believe, until their first actual match, which will be against Saprissa. So
yeah, in Costa Rica in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And here, Jadon Nelson taking advantage of the mistake of the Brahma Pojkarna goalkeeper.
Not only that, but a brilliant heads-up play from Ocampo.
Yeah. And just looking at these highlights, it seems that the players are really finding their groove, really getting settled into Sorensen's system. The transitions, the counterattacks, whatnot, they look good.
2 players have stood out in this preseason. One I would say more than others, and that is Sebastian Berhalter. Berhalter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really come onto his own. We saw him a lot more last year. With the players that have left in this offseason. I do wonder if he is now fighting to be one of those kind of permanent guys that's considered starting 11 more than he has been in previous times. The other one that was impressing, because we don't know a whole lot about him, we didn't get to see him a lot, was JC Ngando.
Yep.
Right.
Move the ball
again,
well.
Another hole and another piece. And you got to remember, Sorensen was a midfielder, right?
Yeah.
Sorensen was a midfielder. He's going to be looking for a very specific kind of player in there, and multiple kinds of players, right? And he's got multiple kinds to choose from. I do wonder the rise, or depending on how well JC does, is what that does to someone like Pedro Vite. Yep. And you know what? I'm kind of okay with those players putting competition against one another.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. And just goal here from the preseason game. Like, look at this buildup. This was just really nice. And yeah, Berhalter on other MLS teams, he is a starter. That's
when you have Kubas in front of you, it's tough, right?
Yeah, and Stuart Armstrong is gone, and he could fill the void until they find a replacement. And so that's preseason for the Whitecaps, and lots to be encouraged by the play. Should also worth mentioning that Alexander Schuff, speaking of midfielders, has gone back to his native Austria and joined Wolfsberger.
Good for him. Lands on his feet.
Yeah, he'd find another club and at least he gets to go home.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe his style will suit where he's headed, right? I mean, that's where he would have grown up and trained. So,
yeah. I mean, when he signed, there was a bit of like, okay, former Bundesliga player, former Schalke player.
Yeah.
Just never really lived up to the hype, you could say.
No, I mean, it's kind of funny, but the one thing that I will always remember Schupp for is not last year, but the year before playoffs when he got body checked by the referee.
By Tim Ford.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that'll what he'll be remembered for here.
Which I mean, kind of an unfortunate thing to be remembered for. Hey, Edgar, how you doing?
Edgar, how you doing, buddy?
Canada's pants. Well, hey, hello from America's hat. So
yeah, hello from America's hat.
Took, I should say, Took.
Yeah, Schuff. He had the motor. He mostly passed sideways, but was never really that creator.
He was never a creator. No, not at all.
No, he was brought in for. I mean, sure, had his moments, but overall did not live up to his $900K a year salary, and it was best to cut ties.
Yeah.
So, one last thing with the Whitecaps, it's been reported by Daily Mirror. Take this with a grain of salt, but if this rumor is true, I would not be surprised in the slightest that Ryan Reynolds is considering a bid for the Vancouver Whitecaps.
It will not just be him. You take a look at his net worth. You take a look at what the Whitecaps are being bid, or what the potential price tag is going to be. He's going to have to put together some sort of consortium.
Yep.
Same sort of thing that was rumored to be happening when apparently he was involved in a bid with the Ottawa Senators, 2 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, and that fell through.
I mean, it's not the strangest thing out there. I think there's better names out there that I would hope make a bid, but this is one. I think it's a rumor. I think it's a stretch. I think he's already starting to kind of maybe put himself thin. You take a look at multi-club ownership groups. They're groups, not an individual, and he already has his hand in 3 different clubs now.
Wrexham, that club in Colombia, and somewhere else.
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Yeah. And I mean, Wrexham, out of all of those, was the cheapest of the clubs when he initially bought them.
No, they were. And if this is true and Reynolds is part of some consortium, this would be huge for the club, for the city. Local celebrity owner would, gain a lot of interest with the Whitecaps. But I wouldn't be surprised if he actually is interested because the attachment and all that. But we'll see where this goes. I'm hoping that it's true. I have no intel on it to verify if it's true or not. Again, this is Daily Mirror.
Yeah,
take it with a grain of salt. But that Wrexham Whitecaps friendly last summer, maybe there was more than it was just a friendly to the eye. Maybe it was foreshadowing. You never know.
Yeah, who knows, right? We know that friendly took months and months of pre-planning to actually get done. Surely they must have spoken about something else.
Yeah. But again, Reynolds would have to be part of a group of rich people to buy the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah.
So MLS, a lot of big stuff is happening.
People are taking advantage of that cash for player change.
Unfortunately, the Whitecaps aren't one of them, and especially with the impending sale.
You have to have cash in order to do that.
Yeah, there's no cash, especially with the club being up for sale. So, big news out of LA. Joseph Paintsel, one of the big guys with the Galaxy, expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a quad injury, so he will not be here in Vancouver on March 2nd, which is a big blow to the Galaxy.
That's a huge blow when you think that they also just lost their big Serbian front man too, right? In
Jovic,
right? Who is at SKC now.
And Puig is still injured.
Yeah. So, I mean, from champions to a few questions now.
Yeah. So they'll still have Marco Royce and Gabriel Peck, MLS newcomer of the year. Edgar. Yeah, I got to feel sorry for you, buddy. Losing 2 of your big guys. Well, 3, actually.
Yeah.
Before the season starts. So Royce and Peck will still be in Vancouver. They're still a good team without Puig, Jovic, and Paintsel. But that's still a tough blow to that deadly Galaxy attack.
It's a tough blow. You're also talking about a team that understands depth. So, I mean, they're just gonna have to deal with it. I mean, it's early enough in the season where you can kind of take those hits of attrition if they happen. Hope they get back fully fit, that you don't rush them and all of a sudden they come back and get injured again. I mean, just don't be Tottenham Hotspur. Just say that. Yeah. Don't be Tottenham Hotspur.
Don't be Chelsea either. And just whether you're a fan of the Galaxy or not, tough blow to one of the best teams in the league, and some big moves in MLS.
Yeah,
NBA had a big trade. So has MLS, though this is obviously not to that extent. But
yeah, this one's not finalized yet, but it's waiting for ink to dry, pretty much.
Tom Bogert has reported this, so Tom Bogert is Mr. Reliable when it comes to MLS deals. So FC Cincinnati is looking to sign Evander from the Portland Timbers, and Evander has been wanting out of Portland ever since the playoff loss to Vancouver. It looks like it's very close.
Goes back further than that too.
Yeah, it probably goes back further, especially remember Evander went on Twitter the day after that loss and just went on a tirade.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Timbers will receive $12 million plus add-ons, and Portland is already bulking up and they found Evander's replacement already, or found him ahead of time.
Yeah, not too many people that seem to be happy with this move. You're talking about the one out of Liga, Lens?
Yeah, David DaCosta. Deal will be around $6 million, and he'll be Portland's new designated player.
What's funny though is I've actually seen a couple of people taking a look at him and a look at Sabi that the Whitecaps brought in, and it's like it doesn't seem to be a whole lot. So the fact that they're paying this much, it seems like an overbuy.
Yeah, I don't know much about the cost, so I'll give him that. It does kind of feel that way, but the domino effect continues with former MLS MVP Lucho Acosta. He also wanted out of FC Cincinnati, wanted to leave the league, but he's going to Dallas for $5 million.
Well, I guess he moves further south, so there's that. Edgar's got here, Galaxy working on a 20-year-old from Botafogo, tall,
Yep.
plays with flair. Similar situation as Gabriel Peck, teammates with him on the Olympic team.
Interesting.
Young kid. I'm guessing this might be a U22 initiative.
I would have to say
about that. Which also seems to be the way that the Whitecaps might be going with the U22 initiative plan instead of the 3DP plan. With taking a look at the signings that they've done.
We'll see what Axel Schuster.
He can't be done yet, right? He's got to be. There's got to be some sort of.
Yeah, he can't be done. But
give us back to Axel.
Back to Lucio. Well, that's cruds for the Whitecaps because he's now in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
And hey, Dallas, after losing Areola and Jesus Ferreira, they get one of the best players in the league, so that's something.
Yeah.
And then with Portland bulking up, that just makes the Whitecaps offseason look more dire. But I think this is the biggest, like, these trades are like the biggest in-season moves, plus the Jovic one we've seen in like the history of the league, or at least in years.
Within the league, right?
Within the league.
The one thing that surprises me is you take a look at the Jovic deal and how much that was. You take a look at the Evander deal and how much that was. And it seems like there's like, for such a brand new instrument within the league, teams haven't figured out what it's worth yet. Because what Jovic was what? 4 million?
Yeah, and then his value was like 6+.
Yeah, and this one is, and Evander's for 12?
I don't get it.
I get that contract size and everything else. There's a lot of, extraneous things that are put into that, externalities. But it feels like this is still so new and so raw that teams haven't figured out what the value of the system is yet.
Yeah, teams are like, ooh, shiny new toy. Let's play with it.
Right? Kind of.
And for those, I know some people in Whitecast are just saying, oh, we should have gone after Evander. There's no way he'd want to come here. I'm sorry.
Well, not only that, but I don't think we're shelling out 12 million on a player.
Exactly. Especially with the impending sale.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's like just big blockbusters, and Bogart has reported over an hour ago that the deal's done with Lucho.
There you go.
And yeah, pretty much he's reported all the deals are done.
Nice.
All right. So CONCACAF Champions Cup action over the past week. The CPL teams had their window. First, well done to Cavalry, the defending CPL champions.
Yep.
For beating Pumas down at Starlight Stadium.
Yeah.
A few days ago. Well done. This is big for the CPL, big for Cavalry, and big for Canadian soccer. And props to Cavalry for not looking out of it one bit.
Also, doing this away from your home stadium, right?
Yeah.
Whitecaps had to do that last year at Starlight. Cavalry's had to do it now, I think, a couple of years in a row.
Yep.
Good on you for making a place your home, right?
Yeah, I mean, Pumas were up 1-0 at halftime, and then Charlie Trafford and Tobias Warchiski, two of Cavalry's biggest difference makers.
Yeah.
That led to their title last year. Got the 2 goals. And it's only leg 1, but whether they win the whole tie or not, this is historic.
It's a great win. It's something that you can build, especially at the beginning of a season. Going to Mexico is not an easy thing to do. So that second leg, win, lose, draw, whatever happens, you've got this. You can remember this.
Yeah. Whatever happens, it's all about the vibes now.
Yeah.
I guess. And then the other CPL.
Think of like Leagues Cup and the Whitecaps when they beat Tigres. I mean, it just
nearly beat Tigres,
right?
Yeah. The other CPL team wasn't as fortunate. 5-0 on aggregate over Monterrey. I did watch a bit of the second leg yesterday.
Yeah.
Monterrey were just too dangerous, especially on the transitions.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. This game was in Mexico as well, right?
Yeah, in Monterrey.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you're talking about a big CONCACAF club. It was never going to be an easy thing to do. Yeah.
I believe I believe the Whitecaps faced them last year in the Champions Cup.
Possibly, yeah. I'd have
And
to
they-
roll back.
Yeah, and they faced Pumas last year in Leagues Cup, as far as I remember. Yeah, I think Pumas is also based out of Monterrey. Correct me if I'm wrong, or somewhere around that area. No, wait, no. Pumas is based in Mexico City.
There you go.
So that's CONCACAF Champions Cup action. Whitecaps will be involved in just a matter of a week or so against
15 days?
Yep.
The 27th, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the Vancouver Rise, no schedule yet for them, but we've talked about them building their squad. Now it's they still want more, obviously.
Yeah, they're not quite there for players yet. Obviously, they're going to want to get a few more. We know that the first season teams are aiming for that low 20s roster mark. But I mean, they've been signing players fast and furious, so it's definitely they're getting close to that mark. The fact that there's no schedule yet is a bit strange. I mean, I get that they're working with brand new stadiums and they're trying to fit their schedule within stadiums that already have existing tenants. That's not an easy thing to do. So it is going to take time, and there are going to be bumps, especially in your first season. So while it's a bit of a concern, it's understandable right now.
Yeah,
I guess that kind of alleviates my concerns a little bit, in that I can understand this is one of those things that could happen in a first season when you're dealing with, places that have multiple tenants. You're dealing with a building that hasn't hosted you yet. It's there's going to be things like this that happen.
Yeah, it's all about baby steps. And Swangard.
Yeah, and if it's going to happen, this is the year to do it, and then figure it out for the next year. So that's fine.
Yeah, Swangard has a bunch of tenants, with the Whitecaps Academy, League One BC, and all that.
Yeah,
community sports. So that makes things complicated. And speaking of League One BC, Harborside FC changes their name to Nanaimo United FC, which to me feels like a downgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Harborside is kind of like the nickname of Nanaimo. And
yeah,
I mean, just going Nanaimo United, the reason they did it is because it aligns themselves with the youth club that they're affiliated with. So they now have both the same names. They're not changing their colors or anything like that. That all stays the same. It's basically just a change of the crest, of the badge.
Yeah, that's about it.
I like the name Harborside better. But
me too.
I mean, I guess Nanaimo United does situate them in people's minds a bit more. They're also not the first team in League One to do a name change, right? League One is not that old, but there have been clubs before that have done it. You had Rivers FC that changed to Kamloops United. You had the one team, and I can't remember the name, but they had a very indigenous sounding name, and which they had changed to, but that only lasted a year, right? So there are changes. Teams are still finding their footing. Not everyone can be around with a lengthy history, like say TSS Rovers or something like that.
Right. And I mean, sure, whatever makes things easier, but yeah, Harborside just rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, I know. It was nice.
Shout out to Joshua Griffith out of Nanaimo, friend of the show, friend of the network.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to go over to Europe, but let's do it.
Yeah, I don't want to either. Let's just
let's
go now.
So your team's out of the FA Cup. My team's out of the FA Cup.
We can walk over to a dull sunset.
Yeah, there's that troll football image of like the Looney Tunes characters holding each other, like all like grudgingly. I don't know. I think I'll try to bring it up here about all the big clubs being knocked out of the FA Cup. That's how
I saw one meme, and it was like a bunch of cartoon characters with like the badges on their back, all walking to the sunset.
Yeah, that's
except
the one.
They were holding up the guy for Tottenham, and he was just.
That's the one I was talking about. I'm trying to find. Yeah, here. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like Looney Tunes or something.
It was right. I think like one was like Sylvester or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, this is it. More on Liverpool later, by the way.
Why do I have to be the ones that are dragged out?
I think because you're the last one.
All right.
Yeah. So Chelsea, this was mindless. This was terrible, pathetic, whatever you want to call it, against Brighton. In Brighton. But a good start. Cole Palmer got a goal, though it was an own goal off the Brighton goalkeeper, Van Bruggen, who just put it in his own net. It was a cross, but Van Bruggen put it on his own net. And then after that, the attack just died.
Yeah.
Everything just died. Just like 7 minutes after the own goal, Rudder from Brighton, he beats Trevor Chalobah to the header and easy goal. It's poor defending there. And then Brighton looked more threatening. Chelsea just looked so toothless in the attack. And then Rudder again in the 57th minute finds Kaoru Mitoma in the box. There's probably a handball on Tyreek Lamptey in the build-up, but I don't really care. And then Mitoma just beats Sanchez, which turned out to be the winner. Christopher Nkunku. I never want to see him play striker again. Because this guy is not a striker, and this is body language. Doesn't look like he wants to be at Chelsea anymore, which makes sense because he barely got any playing time and he's being played out of position. But can he at least try? Because his work rate
get a few minutes, you got to make do with what you get, right?
Like, he's not pressing. He's not even trying to go for an aerial. At one point, Chelsea won this counter, and where was Nkunku? In the midfield, like he was a defensive midfielder. You're a striker, buddy. Play up top. Stop dropping back. And he played because Mark Guiu and Nicholas Jackson were injured, which really stung. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like if Jackson played, there would have been more chances, more high danger chances, even though Jackson probably would have missed some of those all those chances. I mean, Sancho just kept running into players. Madueke didn't look good off the bench, neither did Neto. Palmer, invisible after the goal. And Malo Gusto, who was playing in place of Reece James, who is injured again. I don't think this guy fits the system. Like, this guy inverted does not work. He seems to be more to go up and down the pitch, not cut inside. So, just a big disappointment all season, Malo Gusto, because last season he was a lot better. And like also back to Nkunku and how he doesn't fit the system. Nkunku fits Pochettino and Potter's systems better than Maresca's. Because the original plan last season was to play Palmer at right wing, which he did, and Nkunku as the cam. But Nkunku spent like 95% of the year injured. And I don't know, maybe next game, which is also at the AMX against Brighton in the Premier League, maybe if Jackson's not fit, play like Madueke or Neto as a false nine, Palmer on the right wing, and Nkunku back in his natural position.
Yeah.
Try something different. And the owners and the directors have blood on their hands for this. Once again, Clear Lake Capital, a private equity firm owned by Badad Iqbali, treats these players as like they were stocks. Buy low, sell high. And look at that. They apparently are buying some 16-year-old striker from somewhere, I read yesterday. So they can flip him for profit in a few years. That's what happens when you have finance bros running a club. And Todd Bowley, where is he? Well, other than also owning Vivid Seats, which is kind of a shady, in some ways, ticket company. And he got Chelsea involved with that. I never buy tickets from there, by the way. I used to work for Ticketmaster, and I dealt with people who got scammed from Vivid Seats.
Oh, no.
Bowley has bought a £40 million stake in a cricket club called Trent Rockets. and apparently he owns more stake in that club than he does at Chelsea.
Oh, really?
Because let's not forget, Bowley owns a 38% stake, which is surprising.
Right.
In Chelsea, and Bigdotic, Bali, and Clear Lake own almost 60% or over 60%. And it's clear that Bigdotic Bali is the guy running the show now because, like, he's treating the club like stocks.
Yeah.
That's what a private equity firm kind of does.
Everything's an asset, whether it has a heartbeat or not.
Yeah, and Chelsea's just an asset to him. And there have been reports that, resurfaced over, like now, that Bowley and Iqbali want to buy each other out. And as I said months ago, that I'd rather have the lesser of two evils, Todd Bowley, run the club because he actually knows how to run a winning sports franchise. Well, Chelsea's not a franchise, but they're a team.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, Iqbali and the finance bros want to, make profits.
Yeah.
So it's just terrible right now at Chelsea. Sure, we're in fourth, but the ownership, it just feels like they don't care about the football. They care about the money, and fans are already planning a protest, which we don't know if that'll happen or not. All right, so I'll let you grieve about Tottenham.
You remember last week I said that it had been a good week?
Well, that lasted like a week.
That lasted a week. And now they are out of 2 cup competitions in 3 days. Leagues Cup, second round back in Liverpool. They were up 1-0 in the tie off a good hard-fought match at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This second leg was
just what happened. They didn't even have
nothing,
a shot on target.
No shots on target, complete capitulation. There's arguments about whether Virgil van Dijk should have been sent off for throwing a Gordie Howe elbow. The guy that took down Ben Davies in the box and he had to get his head wrapped up because he was bleeding down his face. That's neither here or there. None of that would have mattered because you didn't show up to the game in the first place.
Yep.
The only things you can say is Danso and Tell both got on the pitch, so we got to see them a little bit. That was it. I don't know what else to say other than they got debuts for the team. Other than that, Leagues Cup, done. FA Cup, again, much better showing, but the fight started too little too late. Jacob Ramsey had them up in 57 seconds. They were up 1-0 for Villa. You can't work in a match where you start the match basically with a handicap, and that's what they did to themselves. They fought more in this game. There were signs that they looked like they were getting back into it, but you come against one of the best goalkeepers in the league. You come against a goalkeeper that has some good help from goalposts. It's tough. One good thing is Mattis Tell got his first goal for the club. It came in injury time, so it was a little bit, again, too little too late.
A little too late.
But it was nice to see what he is doing on that side. The only good thing that's coming out of this week is for the game this Sunday, it looks like their laundry list of injury players. There's kind of funny. There was actually a starting 11 going around of all of Tottenham's injured players, and it was a full starting 11. 5 of those guys look like they're coming back now. We've got Vicario, Destiny Udogie, James Maddison, Brendan Johnson, Wilson Odebert, all coming back. Brendan Johnson, James Maddison, finally, right? Son needs, like a month-long rest. There's actually rumors that Spurs and Son could be parting ways this summer. We'll have to wait and see. I hope not. I understand why, but I also, I have a soft spot for Son.
Everyone does. Everyone loves
He's
Son.
just one of those guys that has that label of nicest guy in the league, right?
Right.
Destiny Udogie, really nice to have back. I've really liked what Jed Spence has done on the left side, but he's not a left back. He's a right back. You can move him back to the right back, give more pressure on Pedro Porro, and then you might actually be able to play Archie Gray in his position for once in his Tottenham career. I don't know. Maybe we'll start to remember this guy's actually a midfielder. I don't know.
Not a center back.
Or a left back or a right back. Like, he's played all of those positions multiple times. It's kind of nuts. And don't get me wrong, he's done a decent job for an 18-year-old playing out of position, but putting him in his position will probably be much better. The only other thing to say about Spurs is, and this is one of those rumors that's been sticking around now, I think for about a year and a half, is Johnny Cardoso of Real Betis. Spurs have been attached to this guy. Like I said, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years. I'm not too sure how long, but it's been a long time. There's been a couple of reports from different sources saying that they're ready to pay the £21 million release clause and bring him over. And I mean, for a defensive midfielder of his caliber, £21 million is not a lot. So
that's on the cheap.
This is one I'm kind of hoping gets done. Again, just because they need depth. The only other thing to address was there were rumors that depending on the Villa match outcome, that Postecoglou's job could be on the line. Been no word yet. Now they're saying this Sunday his job could be on the line. And I've said it before, like, yes, I believe he needs to do some changes. He needs to adapt to the team that he actually has, not the team that he wishes he had. But this is not all on him. This is on the management of the club, the front office, Daniel Levy, those guys. We talked about it before with the Tifa that have been playing out with how many managers they've gone through in how many years. You can't keep trying to change the system and reinvent it every year or every 2 years, thinking that something else is going to happen when the problems are up.
You can't give the chef, you can't let the chef cook without his ingredients.
Yeah. There's been talk about this club being for sale, or at least a portion of it being for sale. I want that to happen. I want new investment. I want new blood. I want new ideas. At this point, I don't care where they come from. I want someone to come in and say, look, how you guys have been running this club, you've been running the business great. To the detriment of the club, though.
But the football is not great.
It's not. But the thing is, it could be. If Postecoglou had a healthy squad, and I get it, like, they've been just decimated. I don't know if you saw, there was actually a graphic going around of the number of minutes that Premier League clubs had given players under the age of 20, I believe.
I think I've seen this.
Tottenham was more than the next 3 clubs combined.
They were like miles ahead of the.
Yeah, it was nuts, and that's mainly because of injuries. Now, don't get me wrong. You have some really young players that are good starters. Spence has done really well. Bergvall is up there. Archie Gray. I want to see more minutes for Lancashire, Mikey Moore. All these guys. Odebert, once he gets healthy, we've barely seen him since we brought him over in the summer, right? He got injured, I think, back in October or November. You give Postecoglou a healthy squad, he can do something with it.
Yep.
So, as always, I wait.
We wait. And same thing could be said with Enzo Maresca at Chelsea, too. His hands are being tied by the upper management.
Yeah.
We talked about Liverpool in the FA Cup. This is one of the biggest upsets in the FA Cup's history, especially in recent history. I actually wrote an article about the biggest FA Cup upsets since 2015. That game that happened last Sunday is in the article, and this result was more shocking than the Super Bowl. Plymouth defeat Liverpool 1-0. And
this hurts because of how badly my team got beat just a few days before this.
Yeah. So Liverpool did not play Salah, Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold's dealing with injury. And their B team could have gotten done, right? No.
Yeah.
Plymouth, good defensive play, good goalkeeping. And Plymouth didn't just park the bus the whole time. They actually looked good on the transitions. Just couldn't score.
Not only that, but Plymouth is dead last in the championship.
Yeah, dead last.
Dead last, right? They've got 5 wins and 30 matches in the league.
Yeah, and regardless of what happens going forward, this one will be remembered for a while.
Yeah.
If you're a Plymouth fan, Ryan Hardy with the penalty kick was the game winner, though a very foolish handball from Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
75% possession.
Liverpool. What you expect, right?
Yeah, I mean, with an Arne Slot managed team. But they couldn't beat Hazard, the goalkeeper. Now that takes me back. Yeah. Hazard having a masterclass against Liverpool. Though he's not related to Eden Hazard. No. But that front line, like Diaz, Jota, Chiesa, were so, like, toothless. And props to Katic, Talavirov, and all the Plymouth defenders, too. Magic of the Cup. You gotta love it.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
And that kills the quadruple for Liverpool.
Quadruples are, I mean, it's usually a pipe dream anyway. To be able to compete on that many fronts, no matter what team you are.
Yeah, the only teams to beat Liverpool this season: Nottingham Forest, Tottenham Hotspur, Feyenoord, and Plymouth Argyle.
Hey, at least we did something.
Yeah, at least you did something. And then
yes, in her trophy cabinet.
Yep. And then yesterday, I mean, it's always a treat when these two teams play. Fortunately, I couldn't watch this. Manchester City, Real Madrid. A great game. Just saw the highlights, though. Great game. 3-2 Real Madrid victory. It looked like City were going to be in control because Real Madrid couldn't convert any of their chances early. And Erling Haaland, surprisingly, that was his first goal against Real Madrid.
Really? Well, he ended up picking up the brace with a penalty, right?
Yeah. Which, I don't know, was a penalty anyway.
Yeah. Wow. And then, again, Real Madrid, I don't know what it is. It's like they get to the last 10 minutes of a match and they're like, all right, time to turn it on, right?
Yeah. Kylian Mbappe managed to score.
Yeah.
And then, I think Ederson, this was like a terrible rebound. I don't know how he didn't control this. It goes off him, and then his former teammate, Brahim Diaz, ties the game.
Yeah.
Some really terrible defending. Vinicius Jr. runs through the Man City defense and then finds Jude Bellingham for the winner.
Yep.
I mean, Vinicius gets the last laugh from the tifo Man City put out.
Yeah.
Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or with the word "Stop crying your heart out" in reference to the famous Oasis song. Yeah, Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid. I guess Man City fans, stop crying your heart out after this. There's still the second leg to be played in Madrid, which also should be entertaining.
Yeah, you got to think that there's going to be a fan response as well.
Yeah. Man City, like, they switched off the worst possible times in this game. And, Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti, they just turn it up when it matters most.
They're the team that I love to hate, but you can't deny just how good they are.
Yeah, the greatness that is.
Yeah.
Real
and Ancelotti, I got to say, is a massive part of that. I have a lot of respect for him as a coach.
Yeah. And then we'll end it with this news that just came out. So Saudi Arabia, who is hosting the 2034 World Cup, will be completely dry. No alcohol, not in the hotels, not in designated areas. It's not like Qatar where it was only in certain places. No alcohol whatsoever.
I wonder if this is going to stay this way. Qatar had said they were going to do this originally. That lasted 2 days before they started doing the designated stuff and in the hotels and whatnot. Remember Brazil? Brazil said they weren't going to have any alcohol in the stadiums, and then FIFA threatened to pull it from them and said, you have to. The only thing I think that gives Saudi Arabia more of a stance like that they can fight is that they were the only ones that bid for 2024.
Yeah. Plus,
right. So there is no other nation out there to take this. But this is the stance right now. We're still 9 years out.
This could change.
It could change.
Yeah, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. We don't even there are stadiums not built for this. There's an entire city not built for this World Cup. You got to remember that one city that they're building, that's going to have that stadium.
I think it's barely broke
up
ground.
In the sky or whatever. So yeah, there's a ways to go.
Yeah. Well, if this does happen, good luck. People will still find a way. I would, not be surprised, but I feel like this will change.
I kind of have that feeling too. I mean,
even though Saudi Arabia is very, strict when it comes to alcohol.
A few other
but Qatar was too, but then they changed it.
Yeah.
So that'll conclude this week's episode. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Follow me and Nathan on Twitter and Blue Sky in the description of the episode if you're listening to the podcast feed. Podcast is on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube. Check out our writing for Area 51 Sports Network. Hope the Whitecaps make some more moves so we can have more content to talk about before their season officially starts. And shorter episodes over the past while, but they'll get longer once Whitecaps season and CPL season starts and all that.
The other thing to watch out for is this week is the week for the announcements of all kits in MLS. We've started to see a bunch that have come out today. Check it out. Philadelphia Union has put out a pretty cool one, I think. Whitecaps should be announcing theirs as well. We already know the Black History kit that they have used in their last preseason match. But what they're going to be using as their home and away, their official ones, should be coming out in the next couple of days.
And it's leaked online.
Yeah.
Apparently. I've seen it. Not bad. But we'll see it officially announced in a few days, possibly at the season ticket holder event. I believe it's tomorrow or before that.
Yes.
So, that'll conclude this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.